OK, Charlie, we did talk about Viktor Gyökeres last week, and I remember you weren't entirely convinced, and I've just heard from that at the very top of the show that you're still not.
No. It's a lot of money. A lot of money. My biggest thing as I look at it is Ruben Almiron had him at Sporting Lisbon. May not have been crying out for a centre-forward. And if he really thought that he could do it in the Premier League, maybe he'd have went there. I know Arsenal in the Champions League, Man United in a different part at the moment, but I really think they'd have went down that way. But for me, there's so much pressure on him because, like I said last week, Arsenal's been crying out for a number 9 for 2-3 years now. Arsenal get a number 9, they're going to be that will take him over the line to win the title. I'm not convinced by it. I really not. Yes, his stats speak for himself. Sporting Lisbon really do. The biggest thing is how many strikers have come from Portugal and really turned on and been a standout player in the Premier League. I'm not sure there's too many. The biggest thing also, there's eyes on Viktor Gyökeres. There's going to be. Opening day, Manchester United away, that was a time to shine. Like, go and make the debut, grab the ball by the horns, and yes, I wasn't convinced. Yeah, a couple of bits was OK, but overall, it wasn't the performance I don't think that Arsenal fans were looking at, or as football fans in general.
I'll read a couple of tweets out, actually. Barnaby Fox said, I expect Havertz to score less goals than Gyökeres this season, but will ultimately be a better player against the top side. So that's quite interesting. Ashley Wright has been in touch as well, saying, worst performance from a striker at Old Trafford I've seen in a very long time. De Ligt had this guy on toast, all right? So a couple of negative reviews, shall we call them, of Viktor Gyökeres' performance. It was his league debut, of course. But in terms of Arsenal generally, people say they didn't play that well, but they won away at Old Trafford. I mean, that's saying something.
But that's the thing. They didn't play well, but they won. They're going to win. They're going to play miles better than that. They might draw games or even get beat. But that's football. Sometimes we overanalyse it with the stats. This and that. But the main stat is the one in the top left-hand corner, and that's the score. Arsenal won 1-0. They come away with 3 points. Start the season well. For them to battle at the top there, they need to go to a place like Old Trafford. It's still a tough place to go. Old Trafford and pick up. But yeah, we know we look at it last season. It really hasn't been. But you still got to go there and get 3 points. And Arsenal done it. Talking point, like I said beforehand, the eyes was always going to be on the performance of Viktor Gyökeres. That's the problem, and that was the scenario over the weekend. Arsenal will be happy. They've got 3 points. They've gone to Old Trafford, won 1-0, go away and move on now.
Well, we speak live to Arsenal fanalist Tia Thorne. Tia, great to have you on the show. Arsenal won at Old Trafford on the opening weekend of the season. But for some reason, Manchester United fans seem to be more upbeat about their club than Arsenal do on theirs, and you won. What's your take on it?
Yeah, well, I think, I understand why United fans feel positive, of course. You've come off a really awful season, you lost in a final, and you're seeing anything as a positive. And I think, good for them. It could end up being a great season for United. But I think, with Arsenal, our standards are just a lot higher than that. We expect to play a little bit better. I thought, first half defensively, we did look shaky, although second half, I thought, the keeper and the two at the back were fantastic. Yeah, I think it's just more our standards are maybe a little bit higher. We expected it a bit more. We were a little bit disappointed with a couple of performances. But yeah, I just think, it's opening game. I don't think, Arsenal fans should be too bothered by that performance. I think it's one that we'll look at and go, we won the game. It's fine. Let's just leave it at that.
What was your opinion on Gyökeres' Premier League debut?
Obviously, I know that a lot of people look and say they weren't impressed. Obviously, I know he didn't score, didn't really get many shots on goal, but he fits into Arsenal quite well. We know that Arsenal haven't played with a centre number 9 in a long time. So seeing him integrate coming off the left, coming off the right, I thought was really positive to see. I think his upper body strength is also fantastic. You just got to give him some time. He's gone from the Portuguese league, which everyone says obviously a completely different standard to the Premier League. You've got to give him a little bit of time. I know.
Yeah, but he's Arsenal. We're talking about Arsenal. You don't get time in the Premier League.
I know.
That's the thing. You don't get time in the Premier League. And you was laughing in that bit, and yourself. That's the thing. We can always say, we need time. We need time. Yep. You don't get it. He's a big money signing, and he's a big money signing for Arsenal. You've been crying out now for 18 months, 2 years, and we have a number 9 that's going to take him to the title. Well, they're hoping Viktor Gyökeres is going to come in and do that. And unfortunately, time ain't on his side. He needs to come in and hit that ground running because that's big money they've spent on him. And ultimately, the football club, the fans have turned around and gone, he's our guy that's going to really get us and win the title.
Yeah. No, I do get that. And I think obviously, as you said, time isn't on our side. You are sort of looked at to hit the ball running. But I don't think he had the help a lot yesterday. I thought only really Odegaard offered him much offensively. I thought Saka was very disappointing. And I think that's what a lot of people will more look at is Gyokeres doing it all on his own. Whereas it's not a down to Gyökeres doing it on his own. He can only do physically what he can. If he's got no one running with him or he's got no one running next to him, he can't do a lot. I think going to Old Trafford as an opening game, I don't think he was never going to score a hat trick. I think it's a tough ground to go to, particularly because he said no to them essentially. I think, that's a tough one to judge. I think maybe this weekend, against Leeds is when Arsenal fans should definitely start looking and going, right, okay,
here you go. That's perfect. I'm glad you brought that up. My opinion, my opinion on this, and it's going to go, and it'll come back probably throughout the season at the end of the season. I think against the top teams, not for me. Against the bottom team, the lesser teams, he's going to score some. I'm almost going to say it'd be like a flat track bully. That's how I see Victor Gyokeres going to play. Going to score a hat trick against the cut teams, goals against the bottom half of the team, against the top sides. I think he may struggle. Now, I'm probably going to have to eat humble pie and I'll hold my hands up in time if that happens, but that's my opinion on Victor Gyokeres at the moment.
From the outside, Charlie, which we are, do you think Arsenal need to spend more if they're going to win the league?
This is taking, obviously, everyone else. Even last year, you said if Arsenal have a number 9, they're going to have the chance to go and win the league, obviously. But you look at it and you think they've added to the table. And if they play like that, one game, it's an away. Like I said, they can perform throughout the season and much better than that yesterday. And they might draw or even lose a game. So I believe, they underperformed yesterday, but they've got 3 points. They get on the train, plane, and bus back to London with 3 points. Great start. And then, like you say, we move on now to Leeds at the weekend. So I think looking at it, Arsenal in the position that they wanted to be. Everybody's now looking at, it didn't go well yesterday, the performance wasn't great. They got 3 points. That's the main thing.
Tia, do you think that Arsenal need more? And if so, what and where?
I think the whole summer, a lot of people would say Arsenal just need a striker. It was always more than a striker for Arsenal. I think we need someone off the left wing, 100%. Obviously, we don't know what's happening with Trossard. You could normally rely on Trossard for the goals. Obviously, they dried up a bit towards the end of the season. Obviously, we've got Martinelli still, but we're not seeing Martinelli from that 22-23 season.
Have you got someone in mind for that left-hand side?
It's tough because obviously a lot of people are talking about Rodrigo from Real Madrid, but again, it's like, how well will he do in the league? We need a now. As we're talking, you don't have time, so you need to do it now. So it's more just anyone that can deal with the level of the Premier League, can be pacey and just scores goals. Obviously, I know we were looking at Eze, but Eze is more of a number 10 in the way that Odegaard played yesterday. If Odegaard carries on for the rest of the season, Eze wouldn't get a game. It's a tough one. I'm glad it's not me in the decision of who we get left wing, but we just need someone that scores goals and will hit the ground running because we don't have time.
What do you think's happened with Martinelli? Because it wasn't so long ago that he was star man. So can he be star man again is my point, I guess.
I think he can. I think it's just a lot of sometimes unnecessary pressures on his shoulders. I don't really understand why, if you look at yesterday's game, I thought Martinelli was miles better than Saka, but because it's Bukayo Saka maybe doesn't get pulled up on it, but I think he can definitely get there. I think it's just allowing him to, without this constant pressure on his shoulders. I know it's the Premier League, he is at Arsenal, pressure is going to come with his job, but I think just letting him be what he can be, and I do think Gyökeres will also bring the best out of Martinelli.
See, on Martinelli, I think that comes from Arsenal fans, right? The pressure's on, they give it, and I think for me, looking at it, the different players, etc., but because how well Saka's done, he's been given the benefit of the doubt. So everyone's expecting that to happen with Martinelli. And I think the pressure comes from the Arsenal fans. That's what they want to have. If you get that balance from both sides, it's great. And that's a team brilliant going forward. But I think a lot of the time, Martinelli gets up. He doesn't perform to the level that we see Saka does consecutively. With Martinelli at the moment, you actually don't know what you're going to get.
Yeah, that's the problem. I think, he's very much a confidence player, Martinelli. The minute he's got confidence, it's how he started the 22-23 season. His confidence was flying and he carried on the rest of the season flying. So I think it's just, you don't, as you said, you don't know what you're going to get with Martinelli. Obviously, everyone always talks about he doesn't look up and stuff like that. But I think it's a season that will probably decide how Arsenal's future with Martinelli does go and how he performs.
Tia, great to speak to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.